One of the sad truths about creating content on YouTube is, you know, if you don't have a good thumbnail, no one's ever going to find out how good the content is behind it. It's thumbnail, title, then content. And if you don't hit on all three of them, you're never truly going to be successful on YouTube. So let's talk about the first step, how to make good thumbnails. And you know what? This isn't going to be a master class, but I'm going to teach you how to make competent thumbnails as 10 minutes or less, let's hope for. Let's shoot for that, okay? I'm saying this ahead of time. I'm going to show you real quick how we do this. Let's start off with how I do it for my main channel over there, the Dental Tools. Now, what I do is we take an item that we're talking about. Let's say we're talking about this screwdriver, fabulous screwdriver, amazing screwdriver, best screwdriver you can buy, whatever. Now we have to think about, and a lot of people will tell you, you should think about the thumbnail first, but the reality is, you know, I'm highlighting the item. So let's talk about the item. So the item should be in the shot. And you know what? It really helps if you're in the shot. People like to see the face that's telling them about this item. They want to have that kind of personal connection. It also helps with branding. So a great way to do it is, there's a couple different ways. You can do the one where you let me go over here. You sit off screen to one side. You hold the item up. And this one, you're going to have to hold the item about where it's going to be, because you have to have focus here on it if you want to get them both in it. And you can do something like this, all right? And you can just leave the video running. And now I'm lucky because I have a teleprompter up here that actually shows my camera right there in front of me. So I'm actually looking right at myself, so I can see exactly what I'm looking like. And I sit there and I just pause for a second, let everything focus, and then I can go through as I'm video editing at the end, go, okay, I'm going to capture that, I'm going to capture that, I'm going to capture that. Another one I like is when you have the person's face, but then you have it up close, but you have to work on getting the focus. Now you're like, well, how am I going to do this? The camera doesn't want to focus on this. What am I going to do? Well, a lot of times you got to cover your face, and oh, look at that. The camera suddenly is going to find focus on the implement. But now you see what I did there? I've got two different shots that are essentially the same. Now we're going to take this, we're going to edit it real quick. We're going to grab those screenshots. I'm not going to show you grabbing it because you know how to grab a screenshot. Everyone's software is going to be different. But we're going to grab that, and then we're going to throw it into my thumbnail software. So let's take a look at that real quick. All right, I'm over here in my software now. I'm using Adobe Express. A lot of people use Canva, I think is the other one. I actually tried them both. I basically tried Canva for a week, and then I tried Adobe for a week. I think it's because I have more of a history with Adobe products. Now, trust me, I'm not an Adobe expert. I actually break out in hives if you make me do Photoshop. But Adobe was just easier for me. It made more sense. So I've been using Adobe here for a few years at this point, Adobe Express. And I started paying for it probably about a year ago. Now, I'm not suggesting you have to pay for it. Again, I'm a full-time content creator, and I get at higher levels of service. And you know, there's templates and backgrounds and other stuff that I use that you don't need to start off with. If at some point it makes sense, then it makes sense. I'm not here trying to sell you on one or the other. But I will put a link to both of them down below, so you can go check them out. But anyway, we're going to talk about Adobe Express because it's the one I know best and the one I like. And clearly it's the best one you should be using. Anyway, so we come over here and I have a template set up. My template is already set up in, I think this one is set up for a higher resolution, but you can go over here to resize. Nope, I already have it. It's 1280 by 720. You can even go in here and say like social media, and I can say YouTube thumbnail. It's gonna be 1280 by, so it's already gonna have it set up. So it's already set to do the right size resolution, and it also tries to get it at the right size of the compression so that it can get uploaded to YouTube without a problem. That's really nice and time saving there. All right, so we're in here. Now I need to add, I have my text that I always use. I recommend always trying to use the same text. It's branding kind of thing. Pick a text nobody else is using. I, in fact, had to change the font that I used on my thumbnails because so many people started copying my thumbnails. So clearly I'm doing something right. Let's keep going here. So in my editing software, I downloaded 2 images. Now let me grab those. We're gonna go over here to media, and I'm gonna upload from device. There's 1 image, 2nd image. Now as you can see between the two, the tool is in frame or in focus, and the other one, the tool is in focus. Okay, you know what I'm saying. I'm in focus, the tool's in focus. So how do we work with these? Well, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this one and I'm gonna make it completely transparent just so I can work around it and it doesn't get in the way. Now I'm gonna take this other one and I'm gonna set it up here and I'm gonna put it in the corner and I'm gonna drag it down to the other corner. There is an option to set this as background. I don't like to do that because I play around with stuff, and if you set it to background, it locks it in place. And I might want to be able to move it and expand it. Like in this one, I might want to make it a little bit bigger. I might want to make it a little bit smaller. So I don't lock it in place by making it as background. It has as the bottom of the layer, and that's what these are. These are layers over here. So I got it now set up. Look at that handsome chap right there. And then we come over here now and we're going to set that to semi-transparent. And this is just for management. This has really nothing to do with anything. Come up here, bring this one up. Now this is going to be this one here. And we're going to take this and we're going to make him the top layer. And we're going to make him the exact same size. Look at that. All right, I deleted the other two boxes here. Apparently in my template, I had two other images that were transparent that were left in there. So now I've got these two images. All right, there's this one and that one. And then what I'm going to do here is on my top layer image, I'm going to click over here, remove background. And remove background is pretty good with Adobe. It pretty much figures out exactly what I want to do. And as you can see here, it got rid of most everything. If I come over here, let's make this completely transparent now. And that's what it got rid of. So now what I can do is I can come over here to erase. And on this layer, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to simply erase that. Now we're going to click on done. We're going to come back over to our other layer and we're going to bring him back to life. Whoomp. There he is. Now, as you can see with this one, the hand and everything, that's all blurry. So actually what we need to do is we need to come back here and I'm going to undo my movement so it's still in the same place. And we want to bring that hand back because we need the hand to be in focus as well. So I'm going to come back to erase. Now I'm going to click on restore and I'm going to bring that hand back into here. There we go. So it's just the hand, all right, and that. Great. That's what I think that's what we want. Now come back here. We're going to bring this one back in. Zoop. Now look at that. Pretty close to the exact same thing, but slightly, just slightly off. All right, so here's what we can do. We can take this, we can make it just ever that much bigger, and we're going to give it just tap a rotation to it. There we go. All right. In fact, we can make it a little bit bigger. All right. Look at that. So now that is covering up my other hand. So I have an image in front of an image. And the reason for this, the reason we're doing this is check this out. This is where it's going to get fun. In fact, we can even get more clever than this. We'll show you. So we'll do the quick one. So I take this now and I can come up to this front image and I can go to adjustments. Let me bring you back up here. I go to adjustments and I can play with the warmth of that. I want to really get those colors in there contrasting, the saturation, which is going to brighten up those colors. There we go. Bring in the highlights, which is going to make them pop even more. All right, let's really ramp those up there. The brightness, I don't know, we can go dark. That brings up the red, go this. I want to keep those blues in there, and the blues have a tendency to wash out, so let's keep that there. Contrast is good. We can make them really pop against each other. All right, and then sharpen. You want to be sparing with this. You go too far with sharpen, and it ends up looking like that. But let's keep it, right? It doesn't take much. All right. Actually, yeah, maybe I kind of like it. Because here's the deal with this. When I click away from this, and that goes away, what that does, if you look at that now, just blink your eyes. This is the test. This is the speed test. Look at a thumbnail and blink your eyes fast about 5 or 6 times and think about what stays there, what image is left behind. And if you do that on this, that screwdriver is really going to pop. It's going to jump out of the image at you. Now, we can enhance this some because watch this. I can now go to the picture of me and make sure I've got the right level. And then I can go to adjustments and I can actually just add just a touch of blur. All right. Yeah, I can just a smidge there. I got a 3 there. And that really makes it jump out there. Now, if I want to get really, if we're going to go really advanced, we can click this layer and I can duplicate it again. I know, we got dupes on dupes on dupes. All right, so now we go to the middle layer and we go remove background. And let's see what all it took away. If we go to restore, it shows what's still, I'm still there, everything else. So that's still there. That's exactly what we want. We're going to keep that there. Got to make sure we move it right there. Get it so it's covering and everything else. And then we go to the third layer and give this layer some even more blur. And that makes the background really fall away there. See that? And what we can do also is we can take the shadows in the background and we can ramp those up, really make them different, add in the highlights as well, make the brightness fall off there. Look at that. You can still see the backgrounds back there. We add some, I don't know, I kind of like the contrast where it was. Anyway, so there, now we can see we've got something with multiple layers that changes the whole depth. And of course now we bring in that text. All right, and we're gonna say this is best budget screwdriver. Okay, now we could say that. Here's something we're gonna run into. The word screwdriver is huge. It's definitely huge. So we got to figure out a way to change some of this wording. I could say best budget. How about this? I can say, instead of screwdriver, I can say best budget driver. People know what I mean. They're not going to think that I mean, you know, driving a car or something like this. You have to understand your niche that you're in and what kind of slang terms and stuff you could use that people are going to pay attention to. Now I can take this, we can put it right over my face because who cares about that, dude? You still know I'm there, all right? I haven't disappeared. You still know who it is, and the people who've been around and seen my channel, they're going to know the text. They're going to recognize me behind it. They're going to recognize the layout. For them, it's going to pop. It's going to make sense. And I can also, I like to come in here, and then I like to take one of the other words and change the coloring on it. You can pick what colors work for you. I've settled on this blue and yellow contrast, and again, I've been copied a lot because of it. You know, if things work, people start copying it. Best budget driver, look at that. Now, some people put in, like, you put in the arrow and stuff like that. You don't need the arrow because I'm already pointing. So look at this. This is it right here. Is it the most professional thumbnail in the world? No, it doesn't have to be the most professional, the most polished. What it has to do is it has to convey your message to your viewers. You know, in this case, we're talking about, I don't even know what I do with my screwdriver. There it is. Best budget screwdriver. And of course, and wait, to make it perfect YouTube-ness, we have to come back and you have to make every single thumbnail, the text either needs, and if you are, a lot of people don't do text. Some people need to do text, some people don't need to do text. It all depends on your niche. But it either needs to be an exclamation mark, best ever, or needs to be a question mark. We're starting a conversation. Is this it? Is this the one? Is this the one that we've all been looking for? I don't know. Do you? Let's start a conversation. We're going to have that in the video. That's the first hook. That's what gets people to stop as they're scrolling through their screen. They got their phone out. They're scrolling through. Scrolling through. It's those thumbnails that make them stop and go, huh. And then, of course, if you're on mobile, the video starts playing. I think it does on desktop also. Anyway, if you got any questions about good and fast, cheap, easy ways to do this, let me know. Again, I'll put a link to Canva and a link to Adobe Express, which is the one that I use, down below. Go check them out. Find one that works for you. Anyway, there you go. That's all I got for you today. If you got any questions, put it down below. You all take care. God bless. And as always, shine on.